Welcome to Estonians in Tasmania. Today's video we hear Dolores and Anne, sisters, talk about the Ruut family. Interviewers are Kitty Croup and Peter Croup.
Oh, I'm Anne Bookage and this is my sister, part of the Ruut family.
Yes.
Right.
And we are half sisters.
Half, okay.
Same
and where do you
mother,
live?
but different father.
Okay.
I live in Glenorchy.
We live in 2 units in Glenorchy, and we've lived. So what are the two units next to each other?
Right next to each other.
Yes,
So,
right next to each
So
other.
we've always been with each other.
Yes, and our families. Yes.
you must have a very good friendship with each other.
Yes,
Very close.
Yes, we
It's
do.
very useful when the children were younger,
Yes.
as we could just hop down to the shop and there'd be a
Someone
childminder next door.
So, what is your, how can I put it? In what way are you connected to Estonia? What are your connections?
My
what
parents.
is your background? Yeah.
Both my parents, my dad and my mum, both Estonian.
Yeah.
And the same mother, Estonian, and stepfather, Estonian.
Okay. And they were born in Estonia,
Yes.
and you were born here.
I was born here.
Yeah.
And I was born in Germany.
In Germany.
Yes. And my brother Victor as well. And then
Yep.
we came here to Australia and we had three girls. 3 girls. Well, then when we became 5.
Yes.
Sorry.
I was born here the year after we arrived.
So what brought your parents here? Why did they come? How did they end up in Tasmania?
Well, they had a choice of either the US or Australia, but there was a longer waiting list for that, and so they decided they'd come to Australia. We actually flew, so we came on a plane that was it was a military plane, I think. I'd have to check that. We didn't come on a boat like most migrants did.
That's right,
Yes,
most came by
yeah.
boat, all these boat
yes.
stories,
And we were at Bonegilla and then Brighton Camp.
Wonder what it
Was
was
the
like at
question?
Brighton Camp. Did you have you got any stories about life there? And
I can't
Experience?
really
Mum
remember it all.
worked there,
Yes,
I
she
remember.
did. Yes,
But you said that she worked in
yes,
the
in
office.
the office.
oh,
And I just remember there were a lot of children there, and we had, good fun. It was lovely, but I can't remember anything else about it.
I think I recall that the families were separated, that the females were in one area and the males were in another. Is that correct? I vaguely
Not-
remember that.
Can you? Well, no, I
It was
can't say
easier.
I remember that.
I remember.
And
No,
it
I
could
don't
have
remember it, but I remember being told that.
Right, well, you have a better memory than I have, you see, so
can
because
imagine-
you're younger.
I can imagine that would be very tough on a couple coming out, a husband and wife, and then having
Yes.
to live
Well,
under different roofs.
Yeah,
my parents
if that's
same thing with
true.
my parents. But when they were working in New Norfolk, they had the female and male
Right, so
Oh,
it was
residences.
true, yeah.
So
So
and they were
must-
working, and they had to meet in the what was
Yeah.
it? The ladies' lounge of
Cocktail lounge or whatever.
Cocktail
it is.
Bush Inn in New
Yeah.
Norfolk.
Yeah.
So there we go. So that's a common
Yes,
thing
I
as well.
wonder why though. then.
Well,
Well, the men were away
Interesting.
working. I guess it might be easier financially to do it that way.
yeah,
Right, okay.
Don't know.
interesting.
So, did you grow up with much of the Estonian culture in your everyday life?
We did at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had
Until-
the food, we had the language.
Yes.
What sort of food springs to mind?
Pirukas.
And what's that?
Kalimbi soup, which I loved. Soup, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still have the recipe?
No, I don't. I've never made it. I don't make any Estonian recipes.
I think
I
with
have to
Mum,
admit, I don't know why.
I think with
but
Mum
I
dying
loved
young,
it. Yes, might have
we
been.
didn't. We might have shared recipes if she'd lived
Yes,
till we
because
were adults, but as children we didn't require them.
yes, I was 18, so the eldest when she
Yeah.
died. So the other 4 siblings would have been much younger, and Dad sort of never really encouraged it, did he?
No.
And, yes, so
Did either of them talk very much about life before coming out here?
Not that I can recall,
yeah,
but
not-
I was a bit younger.
I can't remember Mum saying anything. All I remember is that sometimes, and it's made me get a bit upset now, is that she'd get cry, and it was because she missed her family. She only had the one brother,
Yeah.
and she missed going to Estonia. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's really sad that she didn't get to go like Dad did and like we did. So I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when there were thunderstorms, she'd get us, all the children, and make us, the couch was on a corner and there was a space behind and we'd have to sit behind there. So I don't know whether that was related to her experiences before coming here.
I don't know.
But, you know, the fear of
Being struck
bombs
by
or struck
People-
or
yeah,
something.
struck
yeah.
by lightning.
People were
might have
fearful, I
been,
remember.
Yes.
I
My
think it was
grandmother
more the
was-
bombs, the
Oh,
sound,
do
the
you
bangs.
think the noise?
Yeah,
Well, that,
yeah.
No, I never thought of it that way. I
No,
just
that's
thought,
what I
oh,
always
Yeah.
thought, but I didn't think of that until I was older. But
Yeah.
she
Yes.
would gather us all
Okay.
together, so there was still that memory for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was it like as children of migrants growing up here? Did you feel, were you sort of still felt very much part of the community and at school, and what was it like?
I think we felt part of the community.
Yes,
we were
yes,
lucky
we
in that we
did.
had a neighbour, Auntie Flo, we called her, who
Yeah,
Oh, that's nice.
supported my mum and, you know, spent time with us.
lovely.
I always felt poor.
Mm.
We didn't have the clothes that other people had, and we had the overalls to protect the clothes, and the jumpers were unpicked and re-knitted with stripes as we grew, you know, because we didn't have the money. And I do remember when we were in Burrows Avenue, you'd find a cabbage outside the front door or something that some neighbour had left.
yes.
So others were very supportive, but I felt different because I didn't have the toys.
That
I had to ride
yes.
my Auntie Flo's daughter. I had to ride her bike to have a bike experience. I had to play with her dolls because I didn't have any dolls, and I was lucky that I could do that. But yeah, I
Yes.
felt poor.
Well, yes, we didn't have what they had, and I always enjoyed going at primary school to my friends' homes because they had books. I mean, my family, they were quite well off, and they had lots of books and puzzles, and I did used to ride my friend Jenny, her bike. So, yes, but as far as toys, I can't remember that there was anything that I... Well, I can't remember missing anything, but you would because you...
We
I
didn't
was a
have
bit
toys.
older.
No. I remember getting school shoes for a Christmas present nearly every year.
Yes.
Because that's a present, but something we need. There isn't the money for
To get the
frivolous toys.
And what did your parents do for an income? What did your dad do? And did your mum work before she passed away?
She worked part-time at night in a restaurant in Moona. I can't remember what it's
Delicious
called.
Cafe, was it?
I don't know what it was called, but I've got
was on the
photos of
corner.
her
Yeah.
in the cafe.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to see if you
There.
can find a photo of the
So,
cafe.
yes,
Yeah,
but Dad...
And she worked at the
where else
hotel
did she-
down at Sandy Bay.
Oh,
What was
yes,
that
she
called?
did. The hotel, you know, right on the beach there.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, on the beach, not on the
Yeah.
beach.
So she worked
It's
as a
an
kitchen
old,
hand.
yes. And I remember, that reminds me, I remember going with her. I don't know why. I don't think I was working or whether there was no one to look
Might
after
have
me,
been.
but you were all at home. So I just remember going, and Auntie Flo, you see, her and Auntie Flo,
she got that job. Yeah, for Mum.
through Auntie Flo.
That's the neighbour that was so good.
Dad, I can't remember.
He worked. Well, he had to work away.
Yes, he did.
I think
in
remember
the
he
early
told me
days.
he building the road to Queenstown.
Yes, he was
On that crew,
those.
you know, how you had to work for 2 years or something?
Yes, to repay.
For your passage.
That's right. Yeah. My parents had to work at New Norfolk. Yeah. So that was that.
That
Yes.
came
thing,
back
and
for
but
your
to
passage to Australia.
But to build that road, the Lyell Highway, I think that's such an important road even now.
And then he worked at the timber mill that
Yes, he did. That
behind our house that we shared.
Yeah.
And then lead into Charles Street where we lived,
Yes.
sharing the house with the other Estonian family, which we've already talked about.
So what was that like sharing the house with another family? You know, what was the setup? How did you do that?
Well, we had the back and you had the
had
other
the
family
front.
had the front.
Yes.
And I can't remember any of that.
Yeah.
No, well, I think we must have all got on well. I mean,
I was
I've
too
got
little.
yes.
Oh, no,
because
I wasn't even born.
You
I'm
may not have
hardly
been.
aware of you people being there. It's like we just lived in our
Yeah.
space and you
Yeah.
lived in your space.
Yeah.
We didn't run into each other's
Yes,
places.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we would have had the functions, you know, the parties and that, and we had a big swing at the back, like an Estonian swing. It was massive. That Dad must have built, Dad and Kalju. So it's one that in Estonia, they have those big swings.
Yeah.
And we didn't
This
find
is
that out
one.
until much later, did we? Somebody told us that that's the kind of swing. We didn't know why it was so big. I just assumed it was because the wood he got from the timber yard was that size.
Oh, right.
It was massive compared, as high as the house. Or
Wow.
higher.
Yes.
Compared
Your friend,
to,
I suspect you had friends that were probably quite envious of you having such a big swing.
I don't know.
I don't recall having any friends there playing.
Really?
No, I can't.
We didn't have a backyard. Our backyard went straight to the timber yard. That was the house belonged to Walters.
Okay.
Didn't we have a backyard?
No, we didn't. So we just had the swing
Yes, we had
and all the
swing.
grass, and then the timber yard.
Yes, right. Yeah, there wasn't really grass there.
Yeah, a lot of.
A bit barren.
So did timber for the swing come from the timber yard?
I would imagine so. And Walter, he was Estonian too, wasn't he?
Yes, I think so.
Mr. Walters. Yes.
But that's not an Estonian name then.
No, it's not. But I do remember he was Estonian, and so he looked after Estonian migrants when they came. Gave them work, had that house for them.
Yes.
And he could well have changed his name as well.
Yes, he could have done.
Yeah.
Maybe his mum was Estonian, and so but taking his dad's name. who
Yes, no, he'd
wasn't
arrived
Estonian.
prior to
Yes,
us and had the business, had
Yes,
that
he
going.
was older.
We'd been at Charles Street for a little while in Moona, and then Dad bought a block of land the next street up in Burrows Avenue.
Yes.
And he and Kalju drew the plans up for that, didn't he? The
Yes.
house, and then they built the house. We moved in there, and that's when our lovely sauna night started.
Yes.
So you had a sauna there?
Yes, in the backyard.
Dad
there
built
was
one
a
at the
sauna.
back yard next to the woodshed,
Yes.
and had hue and pine in there. I can remember
Oh, nice.
being told there was hue and pine in there.
They would have had a lovely smell when the sauna was going
Yes.
in, from the hue and pine.
The children never went into the sauna. I didn't. You might have.
Not that I remember, but
It was always the adults.
Yes, sauna was a bit too hot for me, but I can't remember where I experienced that. It might have been in Estonia. Yes, it was in Estonia when
Yes.
we went into the sauna.
Everyone
there,
used to have
we
one there.
stayed with our family, and I just found it too hot. I couldn't bear it. So, yes, no, the kids. Yeah, no, we didn't.
No, we didn't. It was only adults.
Yeah, and
So
I remember.
sorry.
Sorry.
No,
I remember my parents talking about the sauna. The
Yes,
sauna. So
right.
they must have come along. Yeah,
Yes,
I
they were
remember
there.
that. I remember
All the
that references
Estonians
to-
would come.
Yeah.
There was food, drink,
Yes.
music, dancing, merriment, lots of conversation.
Oh, fantastic.
I think it was a night where everybody could forget their struggles, their hardships that they had every other day. And I know it was the only time I ever saw Mum and Dad really relaxed, not stressing about having the house clean, where's the money coming from for school uniforms.
Yes.
And it was like a birthday every week.
Yes, it was good. And then we had Australian friends as well. And Anne Rund, if you remember her,
Of course,
her
yes.
sister.
Yes.
Yes, and her sister Elizabeth. I can remember them coming. And Bev Richardson, and you got a teaching job in special ed through her.
Yes.
So they were all friends, and then they'd come along to the sauna nights as well.
So how often did you have this?
I thought it was fortnightly, but
Yeah.
my sister, when she talked about it, said it was weekly.
Wow.
Well, I can't.
It was either a
remember.
Friday or a Saturday night. I can't remember, but
No, I can't remember
it was
how often.
It was regular.
quite regular.
Often. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was either weekly or fortnightly.
Yes.
But she has remembered it was every week.
Right.
So what does an Estonian sauna actually entail?
Well, we weren't there.
Well, I was in Estonia in a sauna. I'm just trying to remember.
It's
Just
hot.
sit there. It's
I
hot.
think it's
It's
hot.
steamy.
Hot because
I'm not sure
Yes.
how they were dressed or whether they were
I can't
totally
Naked.
undressed.
I can't remember either. In Estonia, when we first stayed there at Auntie Hella's, they didn't have a shower. So the sauna was where you went to have a wash. And all I can remember is sitting there trying to wash myself, and I can't really remember. And that's where I thought, well, this is too hot in here for me. But yes.
We had the
But
silver
you-
birch tree at the front of the yard, and I'm not
Yes.
sure whether branches or things were
I
cut
can't
off from there
remember
as
that.
well.
'Cause I
You know,
don't.
for the
I can't imagine them getting the branches from the silver birch and beating themselves with it or something.
I don't
That's what
know.
they did.
I think that's
Yeah.
the normal
Yes.
activity. I
think-
remember when Dad and I went to Estonia in 2001 that this was happening.
Yes.
So what actually happens, Peter? You describe.
Well, I wasn't present either, but they get the birch and they gently hit each other on their backs, I think.
Yes, and perhaps the leaves have some sort of, and with the
Promotes circulation.
with the
Maybe on your
with the sauna, you know how
feet
hot
and
it is. Yes,
legs as well.
that's
and-
interesting. We
Yeah.
should
It's
Google it.
interesting.
yeah,
I mean, Dad
yeah.
planted the silver birch because
Yes.
of
For that
its
purpose.
Estonian connections, and
Yeah.
I'd say it would be for that.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Mm.
Yes.
Do you remember when we were in Estonia and we were drinking tree juice that had actually been drained out of the silver birches?
Really?
They'd drill a hole into a really big silver birch, so they'd have a hole going a fair way in. It didn't hurt the tree, and they'd put a tube in it, and then an old plastic bottle on the end of the tube, and it would gradually drip into the bottle, and they'd freeze it, and you could just drink it fresh or ferment it and turn it into a fairly powerful
Oh,
drink.
right. No.
Mm.
And it was very, very nice, particularly on a really hot day, wasn't it, Pete?
It was a nice drink, fairly intense, but it was refreshing
Right.
at the same
Yeah.
time.
That's reminded me of Dad used to make his own sauerkraut, remember?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Well, they
In
did
the
that
in
then.
the
Sauerkraut.
Whatever, the
and-
tubs, whatever
Yeah.
it was he had.
Do you remember how he did it, what he was doing?
No, just remember cabbages and...
Oh,
and he
I don't-
disappeared to wherever his tub was at the back there, in the shed somewhere.
He put it in a big tub.
Yes.
I think it was a big tub, yeah.
Yes.
I can't
Well,
remember.
it-
Well, that wasn't
well, it
important
might
to
have
me
been
at that
a
age.
keg even.
A keg, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking, yeah.
Oh,
like
I
a
thought
wooden...
when you went tub, yes.
No, yeah.
But you know, Dad also used to bring us mutton birds and wallaby,
Roo.
kangaroo, you know.
Yes.
And
And I refused to eat any kangaroo meat. I said,
No,
I'm
I
not
don't.
eating a kangaroo. That's not nice. I'm not eating it. So he minced the kangaroo meat up, made patties and told me that it was a patty, and then afterwards told me it was the roo patty.
Oh, no.
we used to see the kangaroo. It used to sit in the bath, didn't it? A dead kangaroo. That's all I remember about it. I can't remember eating it. I guess it was there. He must have skinned it or something. I can't remember eating kangaroo.
What about rabbit? Did you eat much rabbit?
I don't recall rabbit.
No, I don't.
He made what's that
Croatian,
stuff
I
from the
remember.
pig's head?
Soot.
Soot. Yeah.
I can remember, and I wouldn't touch that either
What's
because
that?
I'd seen the pig's head sitting in the
Brawn.
pot.
Soot, brawn.
Brawn.
Sorry,
That's
sorry.
what I.
Brawn.
Yeah.
Brawn's the name I
See,
remember.
Anne won't eat, none of the family eat any of the Estonian food except me.
Yeah.
I like soot and there are other things, kalimbi soup, and then Mum used to make a really nice soup that had, I know I liked it because of the sour taste. It was made with the sour cucumbers, but I don't know what kind of soup it was. I've never
I don't
seen.
remember that one.
Yeah, it had a really nice taste, but we used to have a lot of milk soup. You know, just rice and milk because we couldn't afford.
I think that was
They're easy.
for financial reasons. It's just heated milk with
heated
rice
milk
in
with-
there and maybe
Well,
a sprinkle of sugar or
We
butter.
had
Yeah.
that too. Easy soup.
Is that Estonian?
It's what we called. I don't know whether it's Estonian, but I do remember having that.
Yeah.
It was a cheap meal.
Yeah.
Nice way to feed the
Yeah,
children.
yeah.
They've got their milk, they've got their rice.
What about fish? Did parents go fishing, or did you go fishing?
No,
No.
I don't think Dad ever went fishing.
The Estonians from Launceston went fishing. They had forever going down to Lake Leak from Launceston.
Oh, right.
So those
yeah.
Estonians in the north of Tasmania had that
Plenty of fish.
lots of fishing stories and were always talking about fishing at Lake Leak. That's all I remember. But yeah, that they used to do it. Estonian, I can't recall.
Yeah,
whether-
because I can't.
I can't
recall.
remember Dad taking us fishing or
No.
bringing fish home.
So, in what ways would you say your Estonian background influences you today, if any? Do you feel that there's either an outlook on life, or the way you do things, or the way you cook, or the way you see the world? Is there an influence there from your background?
I don't think so.
No, I don't
But
think so.
Dad did drill into us that you have to work hard
Yeah.
and achieve what, you know. That was what was so much fun about the sauna nights. That disciplinarian, work hard person just disappeared, and they were just like normal people having a happy time.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dad was very strict.
I know when our children, and I didn't realise this was an Estonian thing either, when our children were little, they had to get dressed up as
Oh, yes.
Mary and Joseph or the shepherds or do some little performance, and I just did that because I remember that from my childhood. And then I found out, I read something somewhere which told me that that's what
What to
Estonian
do,
children
yeah.
do
Before
in
you can
appreciation
do
of their gifts. They
Yes,
had
I
to
don't,
perform.
Yeah, they have to be
Interesting.
perform before they get their gifts, is
Yeah.
what Sasha mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yes, so that, and we still do Christmas Eve, you see, because that's what Mum and Dad used to do. So I have Christmas Eve at my place. We have that every year because that's
And
a
the first
tradition.
family
Yeah,
all come.
just the first family,
And then we do the
have,
Christmas Day for our second family.
yes. So
Okay.
I've always had
Yeah.
the two Christmases. Yeah,
That's nice.
so yes, I don't know. I don't know that it influenced me a lot. I guess I just feel very Estonian rather than.
Have you both been back to Estonia?
I
I've been
haven't.
twice. Yeah.
And
Twice
how did
I've
you
been
find
back.
that?
I've been 3 times.
How did you
Well,
find
the first
that going
first
back?
time, I really loved it. I loved meeting the family. The first time was probably just a little bit difficult for my children because, the food, they're not familiar with food. It's not the type of food they would really like. So, they're always looking for something different. But the second time we went, we did find, I think, was there a McDonald's there? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
there
just
would have
trying
been.
to think.
Well, it certainly is now, I reckon.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
So,
Big
yes,
difference.
unfortunately, they're not, Estonian food is not what they like to eat. Because it's quite different, rye bread, but we loved it. And they put on such a feast,
Yeah.
there was everything there wherever we went. So, yes,
Was this in
No,
the
we
early
had a good
90s?
time.
In the early 90s, was it, that you first went to Estonia?
It was when Victor was, I think Victor was about 2 or 3. Yes, and Talia was at primary school. So,
And did you feel a connection there? Did you feel
oh
you
yes,
were
yes,
returning to an important or
yes,
going
I
to an
did.
important place?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Well, I felt it was, you know, I met the mother's family and, you know, and Dad's family, of course, which is a large family. No, I feel very Estonian, even though I have a stepfather who's Estonian, but my biological father is Japanese American, and he and my mum would have had a relationship. I don't know much about that. I just have a photo of him and mum, and I don't know who he is. His name was Sam. So he was in the army, the US Army in Germany, and as a result of that, I'm here. But it may have been that Mum wouldn't have known she was pregnant. He had to leave, of course, and yes, and so then Dad came along, stepdad, and he adopted me, and so I came here when I was 4, and they had Victor in Germany, and so he was 2, so the 2 of us came here, and then the 3 girls were born here. The 3 girls, So, and the second time I went, well, Victor was much older then. We all went. The first time we went, there was lots of us, but this time it was Esther and Graham and Esther, our sister Esther, and her husband, and yes, and my family. So no, we had a really good time there, and we travelled around. We had a car, Sasha's car, and so.
Well, what was communication like? Can both of you speak Estonian?
No, none of the others can. I can, but I'm not very fluent in it now. I mean, I had many chances of lessons. You know, we had lessons with Pierrette and Tiu, but I don't know. I don't seem to. I mean, if I went there, I could speak, but the grammar wouldn't be very good. But I'd remember the words, and so I didn't find that too much of a problem, because the young people, well, the second trip, the young people, they speak English. It's just the older people that But I knew what they were saying, and I could carry on a conversation of some sort.
I'm a bit sad because I was speaking Estonian, and when I went to school, because my grammar wasn't quite right with English, the teachers asked my parents to not speak Estonian in front of me, to speak English. So I lost the language because the school recommended that that's what they do.
What a thing to say.
Yes.
And I'm really sad about that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I've not really ever forgiven the school for that, because I would have loved to have kept that skill.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could still do it, but it's not
too
an
hard
easy
now,
language.
and
Extremely
I
difficult
couldn't do
language.
It is that's why I think I can't. I mean, that's all I spoke when I arrived here. I spoke German and Estonian. They know English. That came to me at primary school.
When we had the Estonian church services,
Oh yes.
I could sing. I could
Yes,
read
you could,
the
I
words
remember.
and sing those words in Estonian. I still had, but then that stopped too. So it wasn't that contact.
No.
Anything you want?
He came from Melbourne, I think.
Yes, he did,
didn't
and
he?
that was a big thing with the. I think that was once or twice a year. I can't.
Yes,
I can't
not very
remember.
often.
No.
It wouldn't be more than twice.
But
a
I
year.
still remember those occasions because we were all together.
We were all
We were
together.
singing in Estonian and
and we're there, and there was quite a lot of organisation involved and fundraising to to organise the flight for the. I think he flew over from
Yes.
Melbourne, and they used to always they used to come around, and
you,
we used to have our Lutheran church service in Estigale in Estonian.
and you were christened with
the
that
christenings.
pastor, the first
Well,
pastor.
you wait for him
Me
to come
too.
so you can
Yeah.
do the christenings of all the
Christening
little
and
ones.
I was even confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes, I was confirmed too
Yeah.
by the same
Yes,
one
you
that
were.
christened
yeah.
Hella Kaup and myself.
Yeah.
Just together.
Is there anything you'd like to add that you haven't said yet before we...
Well, the only part I haven't said and I really wanted to say is, like, we have the Estonian Association now where we all get together, and I think Dad's and Mum's sauna nights did the same thing. It was not an association officially, but it was a time to come together, share your struggles, remember old times. Yes, I think that was kind of like an association, but not an official association.
Yes, it wasn't one thing.
Because if you had contacts for work or
a
contacts
connection.
for anything, it was all shared there. This is a sharing place.
People work
Everybody's
together.
and they can say, oh, if you need this work done, here's a good contact, or you're having a problem with whatever, paperwork or anything.
That's good.
Yeah, so I really feel like, even though it wasn't an official association, it was.
It was there.
It served the same purpose, the same beliefs, the same ethnicity, and
And I have got
Language.
photos, so we must have met as well as a big group. We're all dressed up, and I've got a few of those different groups. So, and
We
I
must
think
have
we
met
must have
somewhere
met in
else
a
as
hall.
well.
It was. It was in a hall. I don't know whether it was the city hall or some hall.
Yeah.
you might have
and
photos too. We've got photos of
We
like.
used to meet in Station Street in the garage.
could be.
Okay, but we would like to thank you both for giving us your time and sharing your memories, and some of those memories are very emotional ones, and some are sentimental, and some are pleasant, and some perhaps not so pleasant, but I think it's wonderful that you've both shared those with us, because those memories are part of who you are and how being connected to Estonia has affected your lives. So thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
doing it.
Yes.